This is a crazy story. I'm probably gonna get it from a family friend, and my dad. So I just knew that they had this jewelry store, right? And every Black Friday, it's they have a spot in the mall, and so we go in there, right? And I just know that we always go in there. And this guy, like whoever, he's like my grandparents' age. He owns it, right? Then my dad randomly told me on the way back because he went in there with me, just me and Angie ring shopping. Um, well, we just we just went in there to, and this is great because I can leave this in because she does not listen to this. She's not supportive. But my dad, he just randomly was like, yeah, like he was like married or whatever, and then like 30 years ago, he like shacked up with a dude and like ran away from town, and
Whoa.
they closed the jewelry store for like 20 years, and then they came back, and now it's like nothing ever happened.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So
That's
pretty incredible.
incredible. Does
Um,
he own
what?
does he own it with the dude still or?
No, ironically, the other part owner is his son, who which his son made sure I I asked him a question about like because he was talking about like certifying them, and he said something along the lines of like, yeah, you're not in business for like 70 years without like whatever, and I was like, I wonder if they count the like 20 years.
It can't. Just can't.
So it's like damn, almost 90 though, huh? But
They put the like will return sign on at like after lunch one day and just never fucking
yeah,
just
gone
20 years
fishing.
later. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
It says proudly serving the community for about 30 years. About.
Yeah, give or take 20. All right, well, the episode kind of already started, but intro. Today's December 3rd. I wrote these on December 3rd. Today is December 5th, Thursday. Episode 14 of Picks and Parleys. Started off with a story time there. I've actually got another one real quick before I get into it. I teased Corey on this before you came in, Eric. But so you guys know, no, the listeners don't, but I got in a car accident today. I got rear-ended. I was the first car in what turned into a 4-car pileup. But so I got hit in the back, right? Exchange information, whatever. The next guy, he comes screaming down. He ends up swiping the back right corner of the car that hit me. He goes off the road, just takes out a traffic light. It's like one of those, not the like overhanging the road ones. It's like 15 or 20 feet, just like kind of on the sidewalk there. Smokes it, takes it the entire way out of the ground. Somehow doesn't hit me. But I told Corey it's an all-time line. So imagine you just did that, right? Dude gets out of his car. I got out of my car again because it was like these two old ladies that hit me originally, and I got out to be like, because they got smashed again. I was like, oh fuck, let me see like if they're okay. I got out. I was at their car. This dude comes out of his car and says to me, he goes, "Yeah, I got dash cam if we need it." Isn't that fucking insane? It's so
Yes, you guys need that.
But yeah, so that was my day. But yeah, so let's jump into some football. Oh, that's over with. Uh, Obviously rivalry week, college football. We pretty much, I think we pretty much know, or we don't pretty much know everything, but we got a lot of answers in this past week's poll. I think the last question to be answered is if SMU loses, what is the fate of that last at-large bid? Because then Clemson will get the spot they currently have, and then does SMU just slot in there? I think they should, but if not, it looks like Bama is waiting in the wings, as they are ahead of Miami, SC, Ole Miss. This was a contentious topic in the group chat this week, where we really had two. We randomly did Ole Miss versus Illinois for no fucking reason, and then we also did Bama Miami, which I was SEC Lou, of course, came out. I thought that SEC Lou was a bit until that conversation, and then I was like, holy fuck, I guess I am a little elitist, but yeah, Bama had to be in for me.
I think SMU should be in even if they lose, because I think my thing is you're judging, like, Bama's just getting judged off their regular season. If SMU just decides they don't want to play this week, they're in.
Right.
So
They're
I think
a one-loss team.
yeah,
If they lose.
yeah, they're a one-loss regular season team. I think it is kind of like a dangerous precedent to set if a team with one loss, which is like if you're in the conference championship game with one loss, you're probably in the playoff before the conference championship game, generally, if you're a Power 4 team.
Mhm.
I think catching a second loss and then a 3-loss regular season team getting in over you is kind of fucking crazy.
Yeah. This is
Regardless of, like, Alabama's a good team. They have a good roster, but, like, they shit the bed a few times. Just got pounded by Oklahoma. Win the games in front of you, even if you're like you have a good roster, you have a better roster than Vanderbilt and Oklahoma. Win the games, and this, like, it won't be up to this.
That was I heard Joel Klatt say something along those lines of, you can argue strength of schedule all day, but when you just lose the easy games on your schedule, it's kind of hard to keep doing that.
Yeah.
Which is funny because that's exactly what I did.
They wish so badly. Obviously do it. No one would want to see it happen, but like, I mean, they'd want to play it exactly like the NFL just to figure this out, to have an actual objective way of seeing who should be in it. But you'd have to abolish a conference championship game, and it would turn in, instead of the conference championship, it would turn into just like playing games, like for March Madness, essentially. Like, you would, instead of even having these teams that are definitely in the playoff play any more games, or if there's a questionable team on it, like, you would have an SMU and, like, I mean, this would be a weird and crazy like mix around, but like have SMU and Bama play in like a consolation, or not a consolation, like a play-in game. Which obviously this is an impossible hypothetical, but that's why it's like hard to argue on either side, I think, because there's ways to argue around every single argument from anybody. So it's just kind of pick. It's just like a set in your ways kind of thing. Like, I think no way a one-loss regular season conference championship participant should be taken out over somebody who didn't even qualify for it. But then again, there's the counterpoints that I understand.
Yeah, so I was arguing with Mags about the comparing a 2-loss and a 3-loss, and then we got into like a 1-loss versus a 2-loss and all that. I will say 1 to 3, that's a hard and fast for me. Like, the 1 loss has to be in. Absolutely. Yeah. That's when people were saying Indiana was going to drop out if they got smoked by Ohio State. No, they fucking weren't. Even if they played an easier Big Ten schedule, they still they still played a Big Ten schedule and only lost 1 game.
Yeah, to another playoff team.
Right.
And yeah, if one of the SEC teams were sitting there with 2 losses, it could be different, because then, like, SMU, it's the same thing, go win the game. But they're not. And, like, Ole Miss lost at home to Kentucky. You just can't lose that game. Alabama with the losses they have. South Carolina lost to Ole Miss and Alabama. So, like, they're not getting in over them. They shouldn't. Yeah, just win the games that are in front of you, and we don't have to, like, you don't have to beg to get in over a team that went through the regular season with one loss in a Power 4 conference.
Yeah, the South Carolina shit. I get that they're playing really good right now. There's also something to be said about they played all the teams that are way better than them earlier. And
Yeah.
that's just luck of the draw pretty much. And
Yeah.
also I get that they might be playing the best out of those four bubble teams, themselves included, but they lost to two of the three of them. Like you just can't put them in.
Yeah, you play the games for a reason. The games have to matter.
Yeah.
They have to. Regardless of when it happens in the season. Like, maybe if you lose a nail biter and your quarterback was out, then like, I don't know. I can listen to it, but other than that, like, the games have to matter. Or what are we doing here?
I agree. There's so many fucking teams in college football that the there's so many cases where you're comparing two teams and didn't play each other. And you're like, how the fuck do we ever decide? Luckily, the one thing that all these teams do is play football. So when they do it against each other, you should probably count what happened. It should
Yeah.
probably matter for something.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, originally when we are gonna do this earlier in the week, I was gonna say we could each kind of give our own bracket, because we didn't know what the bubble was gonna look like, and I think part of that was gonna be going through conference championship games. Do you guys still want to go through conference championships at all, or do you want to just go right to the bracket?
Eric, do you have a preference? I don't really
I mean,
care.
I was gonna say we could go to the bracket and then just mention if about conference championship games if we think it's gonna affect much.
Okay. So Eric, you said you have it up right now.
Or like how we think it'll affect. I have one up. Obviously, we've seen some different ones, but I have the one up from Sporting News. I had one up from New York Times, but it looks very different. I have. Do you just want me to read the first round game? So the bye teams we have Oregon, Boise State, SMU, and Texas.
Okay, yeah.
And then
Not in the order, right?
No. This is just I'm just reading from top to bottom. So it's 1 Oregon, 2 Texas, 3 SMU, 4 Boise State.
Yep.
In the Oregon branch, you have 8 and 9. So Ohio State versus Texas would go on to play Oregon.
Tennessee.
The next one you have Penn State versus. What's up?
Tennessee, not Texas, right?
What did I say? Texas? Yeah, sorry. Ohio State and Tennessee going on to play Oregon. Next one is number 5 Penn State, number 12 Arizona State going on to play Boise State, which spins. I mean, I don't know if there's a way for us to land back in this spot. That feels like the best place to be in the whole bracket for Penn State. And then going down, Notre Dame number 6 versus number 11 Alabama to go on the winner to go on to play SMU, and then Georgia, Indiana 7 and 10 to go on to play Texas.
Okay, so before we get into it, I did have one question because I think, like you were saying, the 5 is so valuable, and I think 5, 6, and 7 is going to be some combination of Notre Dame, the loser of the Big Ten championship, the loser of the SEC championship. So, how do you guys value that? Because in my head,
I have a take.
Okay, go ahead.
A little bit. Notre Dame has no business being the 5 seed.
I agree. They should be like Indiana.
If
in ranking, not in a matchup.
If Penn State's 5 numbered right now and they lose a close game if the game's close, if they lose a close game to an undefeated number 1 in the country, they should stay 5. Unless the only reason I would be okay with Penn State dropping to 6 is if Texas loses. Then you can have a debate against both the 2-loss conference championship losers, basically. And then neither one of them really has a great win, but I would say Texas's at A&M is probably a better one than what anything Penn State really has this year. So that in that case, if Georgia beats Texas, I'm fine. Texas 5, Penn State 6, Notre Dame 7. I think Notre Dame should be 7. I don't think. Again, they have one loss. Their schedule was a fucking cakewalk, other than week 1 at Texas A&M. But again, the games matter. That's week 1, and they didn't even have that quarterback that played for A&M that week is no longer at A&M because he lost his job. So like, and then they follow that up with a loss to Northern Illinois. So again, that's the biggest thing. Neither Penn State nor Texas has lost to Northern Illinois, and I think if Oregon loses, I think they're obviously the 5. If Penn State beats Oregon, I think they have to be 5.
Yeah, so that was like I was saying when like potentially making our own brackets. That's what I came up with was I picked Georgia to beat Texas, and then I put Texas at 5, Penn State at 6, Notre Dame 7. Which
Yeah.
I think the logic there is if Texas and Penn State both lose close games, right now the committee has Texas ahead of Penn State, so they'd probably just keep that.
Yep. Yeah. And I wouldn't really complain about that. That is, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I mean, regardless of if 5 is a great spot, 6 is definitely not as good because 5 almost feels like you're into the semifinals. But
yeah,
at least for a big time program. But 6 is also pretty interesting. It depends how good is SMU really, but
yeah,
6 is a nice little spot to be in.
it is. It is.
If Clemson wins the ACC championship and Arizona State wins, does that push Arizona State up a spot? Like where is Bama going to come in? Do you think 11 is their spot, or okay? Like do you think they're holding 11 tight?
Yeah, because with what no, because with what you just said, I did see a thing. So if Clemson wins, they're going to be below the Pac-12 champ. So they'll actually go to 12, and the Pac-12 or not Pac-12, the Big 12, and the Big 12 is going to get the 4 seed, and Boise is going to be the 3.
Jesus Christ, that feels so wrong.
Yeah, but so I guess no. To answer your question, I think if SMU loses, I'd put them at 10, Indiana 11, Clemson 12.
And I mean, Boise this week, or UNLV is a tough team as well. Like they're not like in yet. So the whole thing could change if Boise loses and SMU loses. I think we could see some like a pretty decent amount of change in the bracket if those two teams lose. As far as like the 3, maybe like the 3, 4, and the 12, obviously I think the middle's pretty set. But yeah, I think or the 11, I guess. But that's where I think we could see some change. Not that we should. I still think SMU should be in, but
yeah, because in my rankings, I had SMU 6 after this past week. I would put them ahead of Ohio State, Tennessee, Boise. I think they've proven it. I think. I mean, I know the ACC is not great, but and I think you can cautiously put them a little higher because if they win, they move up naturally with the bye, and if they lose, well, they lost a conference championship. Like you're not going to drop them too far, but you give yourself a little bit of leeway to act like the loss means something.
Yeah.
But I do agree overall with what you said because I think it's I kind of think right now the Big Ten champ is the 1 seed no matter what. Like I think if Penn State wins that game,
I don't think if Texas wins. I don't know if Texas wins. I think they might.
Yeah,
because then they kind of avenge their 1 loss as well. Not kind of. They have avenged their 1 loss.
Yeah. Okay.
But if Georgia wins, then I think Penn State is the 1 if they win.
Right. So I think what Eric was saying, I think the 1 and 2 are set as two of those four teams. Yeah, two of those four
Yeah.
teams. The other two are going to be in 5, 6, and 7 with Notre Dame. I think Ohio State is locked in hosting Tennessee. That's going to be the 8-9, I think.
Yep.
And then
Yeah, that's not moving.
I also think Indiana's relatively safe at 10. I think if SMU loses, they'd be ahead of them.
Yeah.
Is Indiana 10 or 11 right now? They're 10.
I think they're 10.
Yeah, so I
Who's
think
11 right now?
Bama. Or
Bama.
well, I think it's actually Boise, but it's
Well, that
Oh.
Bama in the bracket here.
Yeah.
so yeah. You guys want to?
There's another. I can pull up the New York Times. Yeah, I was gonna. The New York Times had one that was, if I can find it again, we'll see. It had one that their projections after for Sunday, so what they think is going to happen. So their most likely bracket is Oregon 1, Texas 2, Boise 3, Arizona State 4.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and actually I can.
So they have
can I play
Clemson
with this
winning?
now? So
Yeah,
they have
seems
Clemson
like
winning,
it.
so it'd be 8, 9, 10, or Georgia, Tennessee, 8-9 matchup. 8 Georgia, 9 Tennessee goes on to play Oregon. Number 5 Penn State, number 12 Clemson goes on to play Arizona State, Ohio State and Indiana, Notre Dame and SMU. Which I kind of love. I feel like it's mixed up enough to be more interesting.
You guys know that I'm a huge Survivor guy. There's a great moment a couple years ago in Survivor where a guy he got an advantage in the game, and it was a little scroll, and he wasn't allowed to open it until it was time to vote. So it comes time to vote, and he opens the scroll, and it basically says, "You lose your vote." And he reads it, and he looks up. He's like this surfer dude guy. He looks up, he goes, "That is not an advantage." And that is exactly, that is Oregon to a T. How your reward for going undefeated and getting the 1 seed is you get to play the winner of Georgia and Tennessee. That's so fucked up.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I'm kind of fine sitting there at 5 or 6 if Georgia and Tennessee are waiting for me at 1, you know. But
Yeah, it almost makes you not want to win the game. But I had that conversation with my brother earlier. It's like, would I rather I like Penn State. I think we're pretty good. I think we could fall back, find ourselves in one of these games and potentially win one. But if you ask me if I am confident every time we play a good team that we're going to win the game, the answer is absolutely not. So if we have an easy route to the championship and somehow we win a fucking natty, that'd be the best time ever. But if it means we win a Big Ten championship and we lose a playoff game kind of right away or to the best person that we come up against, I'd be like, okay, flags fly forever. We have a conference championship under our belt that we completely accidentally are in it. Tickets were $50 because Ohio State bought them up so much and had to sell them as fast as they could that you could go to the Big Ten championship game for $50.
My biggest thing, I think we have a roster that can play with pretty much anybody this year because I don't think any team's really above everybody else. We just get fucking out coached.
Oh yeah, every time. Yeah,
I'm worried about the Big Ten championship game because I think Dan Lanning's a really good coach, and I am nervous about that on the other sideline.
If player rating, I know that this again, coaching is the issue, and this doesn't necessarily mean anything, but player ratings of the top 10 players in this matchup, we have 6 of the top 10 and 3 within that top 5 of overall player ratings that they have. I wish I could find the thing again. So we stack up with them. If we did a dude off, we would be pretty good with it. It's just I think we have I get nervous. I think we stifle good offensive prospects sometimes. We get guys who come in, we have 5-star quarterbacks here and there, our running backs go nuts, and usually we used to have a token wide receiver that was nasty, Chris Godwin, Allen Robinson, and Jahan Dotson always here. But I think quarterbacks, we kind of stifle. Like if we're gonna win a game, we park the buses, run the ball. Like we might throw the ball 22 times, whereas like Oregon will just. I mean, if they have to, they'll throw the ball 50 times.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's it. Just it's a different offense to be introduced to the Big Ten. But you know what? To be the best, you got to beat the best. So I go back and forth the whole time about how I want this to shake out.
So you guys,
I want to win.
no matter what happens, you guys are the Big Ten champs because you're the only ones in the game who play Big Ten football.
Yep, that's right.
That's true. In zone.
That's true.
Fucking dust.
I am
None of that
a bit
hot dog shit.
I am a Drew Aller believer too. I'm fine if they just let him eat on Saturday. I believe in him. I think he's good. I just the offensive play calling in some of the big games which is mostly like Ohio State over the last few years has just been so fucking grossly conservative. And I'm very worried about that because that's not like it doesn't look like we're playing to win. It looks like we're playing to fucking not get blown out and keep the game close. Like that's what every fucking game feels like. But like play to win the goddamn game. Go out there and throw the ball hard.
It does not fucking matter if you lose.
It doesn't.
Fucking try so hard to win.
Go let it eat. Just go let it eat. Go after him. Don't run the ball every fucking first down.
Yeah.
Like
it doesn't matter. If you lose this game because of stupid mistakes as far as like being over aggressive, you're still in probably even a better spot in the playoff anyway. So it's not like loose tight butthole game. Huh? It's just like it's loose butthole, not tight butthole, loose butthole game. Just do whatever you want.
Yeah, no one should be puckered. It's the Big Ten championship game, and you have which is crazy to say, you have nothing to lose.
Nothing.
Like what?
To lose.
You have nothing to lose in the Big Ten championship game.
You weren't even supposed to be in the game a week ago.
Yeah, just go fucking let it rip. Throw the ball downfield. Like run the ball, sure, establish the run. Throw the fucking ball downfield. Go try to win a football game.
Did you see that video of James Franklin and them walking out of the tunnel before the Maryland game?
No,
I feel like it was all over X. Really? Well, so I heard I heard a rumor that I guess James Franklin was trying to censor the Penn State players from even seeing that if they just won the game that they were going to the championship game. But first of all, that's absolutely absurd. There's fucking no way in hell those kids didn't know. And that's what I said when somebody first told me that. And then the first video I saw was them coming out of the tunnel. The kid in the very front row immediately is like, "Yeah, Big Ten championship, let's go, let's go." and James Franklin, he goes, "Shut the fuck up, focus on Maryland, lock the fuck in," and runs out on the field. But then apparently he came back in at halftime. I forget what the score was. I think we took a pretty decent lead or whatever. But I guess on the way back in, the kid started yelling at Franklin again, and he said, "Yeah, are you focused now? Eat your fucking chicken basket." Just electric, but I like to hear him focused up.
I think I do want to talk real quick about Ohio State shitting all over themselves because that's like that's like one of the worst losses I've ever seen. Like all things considered, like your rival. Oh yeah, your rival has fucking they owned Michigan for a while, but the last 3 years your rival has fucking owned you. They've gone in there and beat your ass every fucking time. I think this is 4 now, but going into the game it was 3.
Yeah.
And you got them. They're sitting there fucking 6-5, no quarterback. They suck. And you just go lay in your house, and you go lay that fucking egg with the Big Ten championship game on the line, and you get your shot at the team that you lost to by a point at their place on the West Coast earlier this year. Like you get their shot, they're coming all the way to Indy. It's right there. All you have to do is beat a fucking 6-5 team, and you just shit all over yourself.
It's sandwiched between them winning a national championship and getting a 5-star quarterback. There was 1 year that you guys are the number 2 team in the country, and they are borderline not even a good team.
Yeah.
it's
No,
packed
they're
in
not.
place.
They're not a good team. Yeah.
Well, I had to say both when Smag started to act like Michigan was maybe a good win in that Illinois.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So I got to protect myself. But yeah, this is the time where it's like looking through history, it'll be like, oh, what happened that one year where Michigan won 6 out of 7, but the one they lost by 35. That should have
Yeah.
happened. And it did
Yeah.
not.
And I just love seeing Ryan Day's stupid fucking face afterwards. He just looks like like there's nothing going on in there. It's like he couldn't comprehend what just happened. Couldn't put
No.
it together. Watching his team fight.
He's really lucky he's not fat. He has a strong
Oh,
resemblance to Mike McCarthy.
Oh,
when
I
he's,
was
like,
just gonna say. Yep.
he's like,
They just like open mouth, like 1,000-yard stare. It's just
Yeah.
crazy on Grand Day. I had
Yep.
some notes. I had some notes from this one. Well, first of all, I was fighting with some piece of shit on Instagram for my real account on Thanksgiving Day. Lexi was getting pissed because I was like in my phone for like the last 2 hours at her house. Just like going back and forth about this kid. Like I saw him like jumping on a dude in the comments of like, it was like a Heisman list and had the top 10 guys and Will Howard was 5. And what, they invite 4 or 5 to New
fuck
York?
yourself.
How many go to
6,
New
I
York? Is it
think.
4 or 5? 6? So like,
Is it?
he's
I
like,
think it
"This is
just
why-"
depends on the year.
Does it?
They do different
Well,
numbers,
anyway.
yeah.
He was like,
3 now.
he deserves to be in the conversation. And I'm like, first of all, this graphic that you're commenting on because he's in the picture means he's in the conversation. One. Number 2,
That's a great point.
Number 2, he doesn't deserve to be in the conversation because like I guess accuracy wise he's pretty good, but so is Tua, and he's not a fucking top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Like he's 23rd in yards and he's outside of the top 3 or 5 or whatever in touchdowns, which I would argue are 2 very important stats for a quarterback to be considered the Heisman.
You have to be top 5 in both to win the Heisman.
Exactly. And like, yeah, and he was like
Either that or run the fuck out of the ball.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's crazy. He was making all these like points and saying this stuff, and he was like Dylan Gabriel. He has the exact same numbers as Dylan Gabriel. I was like, this is gonna blow your mind. He shouldn't be the Heisman either, which is why I never fucking said that. It'd be an overview. Like he's down there too. Like
that's why the quarterback's not going to win this year because none of them are fucking good enough.
Yeah,
that's the point.
I was like, your team, the Ohio State would be the best team in the country, I think, far and away with this embarrassingly expensive roster they've put together, and then they just entirely shit the bed on a quarterback. I don't know why they would even like. It feels like the casual sports fan would be like, Ohio State took a quarterback from Kansas State. Like, why the fuck would you ever do that?
Yeah.
So I was looking for him after this.
Win at Syracuse.
Yeah. They also I'll move on from this one. I mean, Will Howard fucking sucks. He's the reason they should be the best team.
He's the dick pic this week.
Yeah, he's the dick pic this week. But
he's also surrounded by 5 stars everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, that was another thing the kid said. He was like, a lot of guys didn't have this much talent around them to like. I said, is he the best player on his team? And he said, no, it's like the most expensive roster ever formed. They're all awesome. I was like, oh yeah, I remember when they used to give the Heisman to people that aren't the best on their own team. And it's just like crazy because in previous years, you can see that they don't trust him at all, which is why Michigan knew exactly how to play them because I think at this point in the season, he's thrown the ball like over 100 times less than the previous 3 quarterbacks at Ohio State, which doesn't necessarily mean that their running game's just that much better because they've had studs at running back too. It to me means that they just don't trust him throwing the ball at all.
Well, he's the 11th best player on their offense. So, yeah, I don't.
Lineman that he might be behind.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
The not best player on your own team thing. This is completely unrelated, but I saw a random.
I'll bring it back with Gus Johnson.
Yeah, you guys know who Jeff Pearlman is? He used to write for like Sports Illustrated, but he he's kind of like on TikTok right now, and he's like a journalist, and he has all these like pretty cool stories and shit where like he has a lot of like books out and stuff, and he's like a writer in like 90s and stuff like that. So a lot of quick little like history lessons. I enjoy his stuff, but he had something about Jim Kelly signing in the NFL. So I looked up Jim Kelly after this to see how fucking true this was. And the one thing that sparked this was Jim Kelly came in second in MVP one year, and Thurman Thomas won it, which I think is kind of crazy, and that'll probably never happen again. But Jim Kelly, do you know he got drafted by the Bills? Everybody knows that. He fucking didn't sign with them, and he went to play in the USFL for 2 years.
Yeah,
This
I
is
did
just
know
like
that. Yeah, it's
bottleneck.
crazy.
I didn't know that. I looked up his stats. His rookie year, this is Jameis shit right here. His rookie year for the Houston Gamblers, 63% completion percentage, 5,219 yards, 44 touchdowns, 26 interceptions.
Jesus Christ.
Those are fucking nuts.
Page out of my book from high school.
Yeah, that's
All the
that's
kids-
every quarterback I have in NCAA every year.
Yeah. Kelly Winston Harris. That's
Put it on the Mount Rushmore.
all right. But yeah, I guess
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. It'd just be fun to tear it up in there, but bringing it back, I get fired up about obviously Big Ten and Penn State stuff in general. It's like the stuff I like to talk about the most because I paid most attention. But did you guys watch? Did you both watch the game?
yeah. You can talk about
The
that.
game.
No, I was in the woods.
Dude, Gus Johnson and
Fucking
Joel
loves
Klatt,
Ohio State.
just an absolute suckfest the whole fucking game. Like, it was crazy, and I like Joel Klatt's podcast, or I did. And then, dude, it is
I mean,
incredible. He'll find a way on Big Noon Kickoff to talk about Ohio State, no matter where they are in the fucking country. Like he'll say they're just putting on a dominant performance, like Ohio State and Happy Valley last weekend, or some bullshit.
Yeah.
And then, bro, so Corey, there's just maybe the most atrocious pick I've ever fucking seen out of Davis Warren or Warren Davis, whatever the fuck his name is. There it was, Lewis, like second and goal or third and goal, and like the 2 or the 3. He rolled left.
it's actually a
had,
lot like that Jameis pick.
Yeah, kind of. It was actually a lot like the Jameis pick, except that
Second.
his receiver had like 7 yards of separation and was probably 5 to 6 yards like of depth on this. Was it Jack Sawyer, right? The end or whatever?
Yeah.
Dude, he threw it
Linebacker.
straight into his fucking hands. Like he had his tight end or whoever it was leaking out. It was the most wide open, like end the game thing in the entire universe. And he just threw it like an inch above Jack Sawyer's helmet. And he just picks it up. And I thought the game was over. I thought, all right, there it goes. And Gus Johnson, he sounded like Monica Lewinsky was in the booth with him, dude. I wish you could. What?
I think he lost his voice like in the middle of it because he was like Jackson, unbelievable. He's doing like the Gus Johnson thing, but then he like pauses and then he's like, oh. Like he had like he lost his voice and he was creaming himself over it. He like could barely speak. And I was like, what is he? He keeps talking. I was like, just let it breathe or let Joel say something or what? But I don't fucking Jesus. It was
Johnson.
Afterwards, he was denouncing like Michigan for planting the flag on the O, and like I don't know if will you be able to hear this? Tell me if you hear it through the thing, so it's good podcasting.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh no! Did we lose Eric?
That hotel Wi-Fi has been kicking his ass this show.
Right at the good part, we lost it.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Send it to me if you
but
want.
look it up.
Yeah, just look it up.
Yeah.
It's
And then
fucking good.
here, I'll send it to you because I have a couple other points, but they're not. I'll be quick. I know that I'm kind of monopolizing this portion, but so I was just saying, like the Fox crew it's like so clear that they love Ohio State so much. And then I think so there were police officers or security officers using mace on the Michigan Ohio State players during the scuffle. And I think that was completely warranted, honestly. I don't know you guys' take on that. I don't
I
even
didn't
think it
hate
should
to
be
see it.
investigated.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with it.
There's 6'6", 300-pound men swinging helmets at each other's heads. I feel like you should probably mace some people.
Ooh, we're pro Mace. I like it.
Pro mace when it's necessary.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Jack Sawyer, the hero. Guess
The
it.
hero.
He was the happiest guy in the stadium.
Yeah.
When
When he says unbelievable and his voice is in shambles, I was like, oh man, that's and then he keeps going. Wow. You did not have to do the wow.
Yeah.
When he said Sawyer, that was my favorite part.
All right.
Ryan Day hadn't even known. He didn't even know what happened yet. He was still just
No.
staring somewhere. He had no idea.
Jumbotron.
Gus Johnson's nut in his pants, dude. That was crazy.
All
Last
right.
thing, Michigan extension, Cade McNamara back in the portal once
No,
again,
it's
looking for
fucking
his seventh
really?
season of college football.
God damn it.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. I just had a thought
North
that
Dakota State.
instead of doing bracket predictions, I guess for next week's show we'll just have the actual bracket. So maybe we should just save it. Consider we're
Yeah.
a little long. If you guys want to just jump into some NFL, maybe.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, sure.
Lions, I don't know if you guys are watching.
I'm not. My internet.
7-0.
Oh fuck.
7-0 Lions right now.
Okay.
35
Okay.
seconds left in the first quarter, yeah.
That was going to be the first game we talk about. We all already picked it, but it's on right now because it's Thursday. But yeah, hopping in NFL picks. The Dick Picks lost again last week. Another 3 in 1 week. This time it was me. The Bucks losing by or missing it by 2.5. So not quite the heartbreaker of a half point, but that's back-to-back weeks where we pick somebody and they win the game in overtime and don't cover. So,
Yep.
Last week's picks, Corey, 10-6. He's just better. I think you might just be a better person than me.
Yeah.
I think you're a better man than me.
I'm just having a good year.
I'm glad you're doing well, but
Thank you.
for our competition, and for our competition and wanting to win. I'm sure Lewis has felt this. I wasn't rooting on your downfall or praying on your downfall, but I was thinking there's got to be a time where it, water finds its level, and it just fucking hasn't. You just to the moon. So congrats to you.
I've just been locked in. Thank you. And I appreciate it. This is straight vibes on. That's it. That's all I've gone off of is just feel. There's no numbers.
That's what I've been trying to do too, and that's when I've been good.
Yeah.
That's a fun fact. I've been over 500 every week since week 7.
That's good.
A little bit of a run.
Yeah, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, I was not. I think I might have been under.
Yeah, 6 and 7 last week.
Mhm.
But yeah, so Corey 10-6, Eric and I both 9 and 7, Mags 8 and 8. I did have we lost Eric.
Lost
Hotel
him.
Wi-Fi.
Do you have how many games back are you of whoever's in third?
I am. I'm 3.5 behind Eric for second. I'm 1.5 behind Mags for third.
1.5?
Yeah, because I have 2 pushes and he has 1.
Oh shit! I was like, how does that happen? But yeah, that makes sense. So it's right there. What's my lead?
You have 9.5 on Eric.
Okay. So just
Here he
avoid
comes.
disaster. There he is.
This is. I will say this is the clearest your pictures looked on the re-entry here.
Oh,
Yeah, you came back with the best Wi-Fi you've had all fucking night.
hey man,
Lag
Connecticut
after you
Comfort
said that.
Inn. I'm in the Comfort Inn suites. I took a shower for 5 minutes and the water was pulled above my ankles. So I didn't expect. I didn't expect this to be the most smooth.
Jesus, can't even get a fucking jerk in.
I know, dude. It was just swimming around my toes.
I did have a group stat for us here. We were kind of glazing at each other before this episode started, but in the last 5 weeks, so that's each of us making 5 weeks worth of picks. We've had 3 entries under 500 as an entire podcast. Only 3 entries under 500. So
Hell yeah.
that's
You listen
part of
to
why
us
the
for
race
nothing
is
else.
tight. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so overall, Corey 58.5%, Eric 53.1, Mags 52.1, and I'm at 51.3. So, and while you were gone, we were saying, Eric, you are currently 3.5 up on me for that last spot, and I'm 1.5 behind Mags for being safe. So it's very tight with only a couple weeks left and in the playoffs. So 5 big games for the week. We can go through this one pretty quick. We got the Packers +3 at the Lions, 52.5 was the over under. Like Corey said, Lions still 7-0 right now.
Yep, 7-0. They actually just got to take away.
Maybe. Is it confirmed? I might be behind you.
I'm watching the replay right now. It looks like that is a fumble. Yeah, that's a fumble. Yeah, so Lions just got to take away to start the second quarter.
All right.
Christian Watson fumble. If anyone has anything big going on in fantasy, yeah, that's for sure a fumble. Which I have the Lions defense in a must-win game actually today. So
then I like all of us because all of us in here picked Lions -3, right? I know that I'm kind of jumping the gun on like what we were just about to talk about. But they gave up a fumble, and Jordan Love is absolutely going to throw a pick at some time. So if they score any points here, I think we're sitting all right.
Yeah, they're gonna start fucking running the football.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, give him to me.
Yeah, so we can kind of just hop past that one. Our next one, early Sunday game, Falcons +5.5 at the Vikings, over under 46.5. I feel gross continuing to put the Falcons in here, but they are on this skid, but they are tied for their division lead. The Vikings at 10-2. Who had the fucking Vikings as tied for the second best record in all of football? They had to come back win against the Cardinals, a game they absolutely should not have won, but they found a way. I'm definitely betting the Falcons in this. I tried to hop on the Vikings train, and it just star-crossed. I think I won one fucking Vikings bet. I've been so wrong about them all year, and I think now they're starting to do the thing where they keep winning, and people are going to start putting them on fraud watch because they're like 10-2. This is not a fucking 10-2 team. They're really the Steelers of the NFC in terms of people's perception of them, I think. And yeah, the Falcons like fucking desperately need to get back on track. I almost want to say the Falcons are going to win this outright, but they have been so shit that I don't know that I necessarily want to do that. I'm good with the 5.5 though. That's a lot for this game, I think.
Yeah. Corey, you can go. I'm not really sure what I think.
Yeah, I think I'm on the Falcons as well. I think the Vikings, I agree with everything you said, so I don't have much extra to add, but I think 5.5 is too many points. I think the Falcons have been shit, which means they're due because I don't think they're actually that bad of a team. Early Sunday game, that's Kirk Cousins. Like, Yeah, I'm going Falcons plus 5.5. I think it's just too many points. Would love if it got to 6. Um, yeah, I don't think it will. I think it actually might go the other way, but I'm going to take Falcons plus 5.5.
That makes it tough because then it's like I don't want to sound like I'm just trailing you guys, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go Vikings minus 5.5. I just think I agree. I think the Falcons like might have a more impressive roster up and down from top to bottom, but like maybe. Um, and I do think the Falcons are kind of fraudulent. And I think like what Lewis is talking about, it's like they seem like one of those teams that you're hesitant to start betting them early, and then you're too late to the train, and you catch them in like one of their off weeks, and then you're back to like the preseason feeling is like I have no clue what they're gonna do again. And but I think I'll take a minus 5.5. I think the Falcons might. I don't know. There's something about them. They're just not playing well. 13 points against the Chargers. I know that their defense is really awesome, but I don't know. Just to be different, I think. So we can go minus 5.5.
Yeah, there's also a chance that
Back.
I'm kind of betting, I think Lewis is too, on that they're not going to keep playing this bad, the Falcons, but they also just might be.
Yeah.
They might just be cooked, and they might lose by 14 or 20. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I have this
Well,
major
and
problem where I see a team like the Falcons and I'm like, between them and the Bucks, I do think the Bucks are a better team, but I'm like, okay, well if the Falcons in the last week of the season in a scenario like I see it as the Falcons in the last week, they'll need to win and the Bucks to lose and then they'll win the division. That's just how
yeah,
it feels like it needs to happen to me. And so I just pick. So I'm like, all right, the Falcons just lost a bunch in a row. They got to win so that they could get back into that position to do that. But there's no rule anywhere that says that they have to be in that position at the end of the year. I just think it. So then I bet based on that for like 2 months straight. But it's been
one thing, and I was just looking it up to make sure it wasn't like as exaggerated as I thought, but like what sticks out of my brain is like Kirk playing shaky and then Young Ho Koo being one of the kickers that has like the cheese touch right now. He only missed one last week, which for some reason it felt worse, but I guess I was just watching.
he has
What?
so bad though. I just love the cheese
yeah,
touch. I like it.
The what? Cheese touch?
Didn't you say
Yeah.
the cheese touch?
yeah,
Cheese touch, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
yeah. I did too.
Okay, yeah. He's got the cheese touch. We can edit out the awkward silence and post. Don't worry. This Wi-Fi, I'm trying to hear things in real time, but it's clear some of my things aren't landing, and I feel like I'm like, oh shit, I need to move on before it gets too awkward. And then I just realize that you're hearing it. You're hearing it like 2 seconds after
It just happened again. I did. I said something, and then I felt the awkward silence, and then I was like, "Oh, I guess I got to keep going." And right as I started talking again, Eric said, "Yeah," and started laughing. I was like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah.
I've been tracking this one.
Anyway, I would just be. I think like I mean, obviously, I feel worse about this pick. I'm on the other side of you guys. Lewis is on nipping at my heels, but like imagine I just kind of feel like I see him missing something that's going to be detrimental. Although it is indoors, so I don't know, but he's been missing indoors.
I just thought of this. I think this is completely fucking. I think we should all the last week, if it's close. I don't think we should send all our picks to the group chat so no one can do like I'm taking all the same picks because I'm a game up. I think we
all got
all
some
have.
to Corey.
If I'm still, yeah, that's fine
Don't
with
do
me.
that. You're gonna be in first. Don't do that.
Either, yeah, I think everyone should send it separately, and yeah, I think that's fine. So we can't do that.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. All right, next game. We've got another great late slate and Sunday night this week. One of those late slate games, Seahawks plus 2.5 at the Cardinals. over under 44.5. The Seahawks on a little bit of a winning streak. They were dead as dead could be after a quarter, and then it was just the Jets sucking absolute cock. I don't know that the Seahawks did. I want to know how many teams in the NFL could have came back from that 21-0 lead or 21-3 lead. Because I think it's like 25 teams. I think a lot of teams could have did that because the Jets were just begging to lose that game. And then we also mentioned that the Cardinals choke loss against the Vikings. I'm going to use the same logic that I just said was stupid, but I'm going to re-implement it. If the Seahawks win this game and the Rams don't beat the Bills, the Seahawks are going to have a 2-game lead in the West after what a fucking trash heap the West has been this year. They do not deserve to have a 2-game lead. Nobody deserves to have a 2-game lead. It's got to be the Cardinals. I'm going to bet the Cardinals to win and cover. The Seahawks are just not an 8-5 team. They're not. They're not even a 7-6 team. They deserve to be 7-7, and we're going to fucking get them there. Cardinals.
What's the total on this one?
44.5. Feels very low to me.
Yeah, I think I like the Cardinals. I think for the sake of us not having the same picks on everything, I'm gonna go over. I think there's points here. The Seahawks defense is good, but they also gave up 21 points to the Jets in the first quarter.
Touchdown.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm gonna go over.
Was that a 50?
I like the Chargers. Jesus, I like the Cardinals offense. The Seahawks offense, I think, is good enough. 44.5 is too low. Over.
I feel like Lewis, you're saying you're picking off vibes too, but I feel like these are different vibes. Like the vibes of how the division is going to shake out, rather than how you feel the teams are playing.
No.
I feel like the vibes pick here is to pick the.
Sorry, go ahead. We did it again. I can't. I shouldn't have done that. That's on me.
I didn't say anything else. I was scratching my head, but it might have made a noise. I was scratching my head. You go ahead.
All I was gonna say is it's the same because I see the Falcons probably is better than they actually are, because I'm like, the division has to come down to the wire. I'm doing the same thing where I don't like the Seahawks just to be that good. I do believe what I said there, but I also think the NFC West really is going to come down to, I think either the Niners are going to resurrect and one of these other teams falls back, or I think there's going to be a 3-team race in some form, and I can't see one team pulling away. And the only way that a team pulls away is if the Seahawks win this game. So that was kind of my logic there. My stupid logic. We might have lost him again.
Oh, no. We might have lost him again.
If he didn't even hear my fucking explanation. God damn it.
I heard it. It makes sense to me. I also feel like this is a spot for the Cardinals after blowing that game where you're.
Oh, he's growing.
Oh boy. This is a spot for the Cardinals here where you decide right now this week.
Okay, well, picks in here.
Just completely frozen, Corey, in the middle of a sentence. Just starts talking again.
This is a spot where you decide how the rest of your season goes this week after that brutal, that loss last week against the Vikings. You got a chance to come out and beat a division opponent. You beat them, you're still in it, you're right there. You lose to them, do you skid again next week? Because then you're in a spot it's getting late and you're 2 games back and you just lost to them.
And all of a sudden you're the Cardinals again.
Yep, correct.
Yeah. So Eric, I don't know.
Am I back?
Yes, you are. I don't know if
you're
you
back.
heard my explanation, but Corey said it made sense.
I did.
So
I heard it.
Repeating. Okay.
I heard this whole. I heard the whole thing that just happened. I heard you guys laughing, and my picture, I look fine. You guys have looked fine. I don't know what's going on. I was just saying, I'm picking the Seahawks plus 2.5.
Okay.
I said, ooh, look, all three of us have different picks in here.
There you go. Eric's gonna have to stay.
I wonder if there's been any games where we've had all 4 picks. Has that happened?
Oh shit.
It did happen once a couple weeks ago.
How the fuck do you remember that?
Because I was like, oh fuck, we all picked. I'm gonna find it actually, but yeah, I'll go first for the next one, and then I'll go find that. Also Sunday late, Bills -3.5 at the Rams, over under 49.5. Both these teams awful win. The Rams like low-key almost blew that game against the Saints. And the Bills absolutely fucking smashed the Niners. It feels like the Rams kind of need to win to keep pace. I also wonder if I just have thought the Rams are a little better than they actually are all year. And the Bills have been doing good for me. A lot of games that I bet on the Bills, they end up winning. 3.5 is not a lot, considering I don't think the home field is that great for the Rams. So I'm just gonna go with the Bills. I'm getting into this mindset. I've done this with the Lions, and I'm gonna continue on it with the Bills too. A really good team that's just smashing everyone they play. I'm just gonna fucking bet on them. I don't care what the number is. I'm just gonna bet on the Bills.
Yep, I think the Bills, they're not quite there, but they're getting to that territory for me, like how I've just bet the Lions every week. Like every week, just the number, the Lions. It is what it is. I'm same thing with the Bills right here. I think they're better. And I've kind of been waiting for the Rams to turn it on, and they haven't really, so maybe it's just not there. But the Bills are a good team. I know they're traveling to the West Coast, but I think they're good enough to overcome that. I'm going to take the Bills 3.5.
Gotcha. I'm also gonna take that, so it's not super fun and kind of the same thing as they're like stomping people out, and they're not allergic to covering like the Chiefs are, even though they're an awesome team too. So I like them. Also, one note I was gonna say is that Travis Hunter is the clear favorite for the Heisman for a lot of people. But Josh Allen has a higher touchdown to target ratio than him, and he doesn't even play receiver. He has one touchdown for 0 targets. And that's nowhere Travis Hunter's nowhere close.
I don't think you can even get better than that.
Exactly. It's just an infinity.
It's infinity, yeah.
Is he gonna get his MVP this year? Like it feels like
I think he is.
this era of the NFL, like feels like it's not gonna be complete if Josh Allen doesn't get like an MVP at some point. He's too good.
He's got to get one. He's got to get to a Super Bowl. Burrow needs to win one, an MVP.
Yeah, and then I think we'll be good because then Mahomes, Lamar,
You can't.
Burrow.
I know Lamar.
I would have loved to shake one, but can't.
I know Lamar is
Can't
great. I cannot have Lamar win 3 MVPs before Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. Either of them win one. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it very well could be like it could have been Burrow's year, but their defense is fucking horrendous.
Also, this is why I remembered it, Eric, because it happened this past week on Thanksgiving night game. You had the over. This was Dolphins-Packers. You had the over. Mags had the under. Corey had the Dolphins, and I had the Packers.
I missed it by a half point, I think, right?
You did, yeah.
I knew that was a fucking loser in the first quarter. I was just like, oh, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't look. Tua did not look like he was ready to crush narratives when they actually, like, it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna go up there. It's gonna be cold, and we're gonna fucking go in there and get a win. And then it felt like they got off the plane and they were like, oh fuck, it's cold. Yeah.
As soon as he stepped off.
Dude, when they would pan to or cut to McDaniel, it was just like it was like that. We're so clearly not. That's like if like the captain of a pirate ship when an opposing force's pirate ship was coming over the horizon, he just shit himself and had like the cold sweats up behind them. It's just there's no way we're gonna win that game. There's no way.
There's guys that like Andy Reid, like I mean these are some of the best coaches ever, but like Andy Reid, obviously Belichick when he was there, and I think I like LaFleur's always in the cold, like Tomlin in the cold, a Harbaugh in the cold. Like you look over there and you're like, that guy's ready to coach a goddamn football game tonight. And McDaniels,
Tom-
you looked over there and you're like, that guy wants to go home.
Tom Coughlin looking like he has a fucking sunburn.
Yeah. Yep. There's just like
freezing off.
there's guys where like it pans to them on the sideline and you're like, yep, this is a cold weather football game. Like in there, this is gonna be a fucking football game. And they pan to McDaniel and you're like, that guy does not want to fucking be here right now.
Yeah, I would say ill-equipped is the perfect way to describe the Dolphins in that game, both play on the field and scheme and also dress for the weather. He looked like he was dressed for 50. And it
Yeah,
was 20 and windy.
he I don't know how many layers he had on. I don't know if there was a number of layers he could have put on to be comfortable. Like just the way his face looked.
There's like old pictures of Don Shula like shaking hands after kicking ass back in the day in just a big ass Miami Dolphins winter coat. And it's just where has the time gone? So it's just an awful feeling because I mean they gave him like a hoodie, give him a fucking coat. So he actually just looks like, and then it looks like he's got a little pounds on him, a little poundage. He's not like a child on the sideline, but it is what it is.
He would run the risk of like those kids in elementary school where it's like they get on the bus and their arms are like straight out because their mom put them on.
Yeah, it's from a Christmas story.
Yeah.
All right. Did you pick in that game, Eric? The Rams.
Which one? What was this? Oh, I'm taking the Bills.
Okay. All right, we're Bills enough.
I'm the same as you though, where I believe in the Rams too much, but I'll believe in them against like middle tier NFL teams. Not the Bills are rolling right now, and Josh Allen's not throwing all the picks, and so
yeah,
this is what they've been looking for.
They're a little Steelers like where it's like as soon as you're like, oh man, I guess we got to start like settling down on the Rams, then they'll win a game where you're like, how the fuck did they win that game? And
yeah,
they're the kings of like win two, lose two kind of shit. Never get too high or low.
Yeah.
All right, last game, Sunday Night Football. Chargers plus 3.5 at the Chiefs. 42.5 is the number. The Chargers like kind of played like shit last week, and the Falcons kind of outshitted them to lose that game. The Chiefs have been begging to lose for so long. I feel like this is a really tough one. I've been a Chargers guy this year. I feel like I have a very good record.
You have been.
Games. And the Chiefs don't love to cover. This is right on the brink of like, because 12.5 for the Chiefs last week. Everybody fucking knew. I think all four of us took the Raiders. Everybody knows the Chiefs are not covering fucking 12.5 points. The Chargers, man, playing it to within a field goal on the road is tough. But I know that the Chiefs, if the Chiefs are up 1, 2, or 3 or tied, they're gonna manage the fuck out of the game to where the Chargers do not get the ball back, or they're kicking a field goal with 20 seconds left, or something like that. Like that's why the Chiefs don't cover, right? Is because they are in the ultimate park the bus, play to win the game kind of shit. I just think the Chargers, Herbert and Harbaugh, man, like it's hard to really pick them to let you down. They do it every once in a while, but it's just tough against a team that never covers. It feels like getting that extra half a point too for a field goal. I'm gonna go for the Chargers here.
I think I am as well. I think if it was 2.5, I'd reconsider, but that extra hook on the field goal.
Mhm.
I really like here because I think, like you said, the Chiefs just like every game, they are just in control of the game. Like the second half of games, it's close. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're losing. They're in control of the game. And they have Pacheco back. They're gonna run the ball. Like I don't hate the under here either because this is two teams I think are really gonna want to try to run the ball. This week
KC
I don't.
sneaky cold too.
Yeah. Yep. I like the under. I think on the show right now, I think I'm gonna pick the Chargers plus 3.5. I could switch to the under, although I hate the under on Sunday night. It's kind of boring, but I'll take the Chargers. I think they keep it close. I don't see why they can't win this game. Like, but that's every Chiefs game. Is you're like, I don't see why they can't lose this game, and then they win it by 2 because they kick a field goal at the end. Like, it's just Chiefs football this year. They're a good team. Just because they're not like blowing people out, I don't think makes them any less scary. I think they can win any game that they're on the field for. But I don't know. I think I like the Chargers here. I'd maybe consider a little money line. I don't know if I will, probably won't, but I'm going to take the 3.5.
The Chiefs gotta fucking lose games.
They have to lose at some point. Like,
This was at
they
the
do
Chargers.
manage
They
every
played the
game.
Chargers.
They like are in control of every game, but at some point they gotta fuck up.
Mhm.
Like something has to happen at some point. They can't keep getting away with this.
This team does not go 16-1.
There's no way.
What's the total?
42.5.
Oh, it feels. I mean, I feel the Chiefs haven't been like scoring a billion points this year, and the Chargers definitely haven't been.
It's two good defenses,
'cause
two
I-
teams that like to run the ball. That's why.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but they did, and then the Chiefs scored 30 and then gave up 27 against the Panthers. I'm just going back in a couple weeks, but I think I'm gonna take the Chiefs minus 3.5. I'm gonna go on the other side of you guys. I think they might actually cover here. I think the Chargers have been playing everybody mad close, and I do think that they're a super good team, but I kind of feel like they're Dolphins-esque, where they beat some decent teams, like middle of the line teams, whatever. Like hard to win in the league, so wins are a win. But I feel like when they play against actual contenders, like it kind of exposes them a little bit. Like you said, they played pretty poorly last week. I think that Harbaugh will have them shaped up, but I think didn't McConkey get a little banged up in the game? He's going to be. I think he was limited at practice this week. Yeah. So I think I like the Chiefs 3.5, even though they're, I'm going to be pissed afterwards if it doesn't hit because they never cover anything. But I do like the under too, though, because it's in the cold and they just like to run the ball. But it's 42.5 is just so, because every time I immediately split it in half, I'm like, do I think both teams can score? I know 21 puts you a half point under, but you're like, both teams could score at 22 points or whatever. But and then I have that was the last picks I had random. So when I think of things throughout the week based on things that I read, I just throw them in my notes so I don't forget to say them on here, but then it doesn't always necessarily organically come up. Wanted to talk about, well, first of all, did you know that Vin Diesel makes pop music, like EDM music? That was one thing.
I did not see that coming at all.
That was one thing I needed to let you guys know. I needed you to know. It's not about sports. But I was listening to music in the gym and it came up and I was like, what the fuck is this? And it's Vin Diesel's pop music. There's 2 different songs that are circulating on Spotify there.
I think
I fucking hate Mac Hollins.
Right when The Rock came out with that song, you remember The Rock's rap song? I feel like there was a random Vin Diesel song that came out around the same time.
That would make sense because they fucking hate each other, right?
Yeah.
Now, is this like pop music, like whatever the beat or the music is? Could you like? Does it sound like Sabrina Carpenter could also be singing the same song? Is that like what we're? No.
It's almost like T-Pain pop music where he's really auto-tuned. Where you're like,
can you hear it?
I'm about to pull it up right now.
This is him.
Get the fuck out. There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's fucking crazy. Had to be said, and I hope the people, all of our devout fans, loyal fans out there, throw him on the playlist one day. Just give him a listen. I fucking hate Matt Collins. This was another thing I wanted to talk about. He's doing all this shit where he's like walking into the stadium barefoot and just being super fucking annoying. He's incredibly corny, but there's not like an ounce of funny in it where like OG Travis Kelce before he got like way too corny on the other side of it. Where like at first you're like, oh, this is kind of funny because Travis Kelce's like a cool dude, and now he's like too far on the other way. And also it makes me mad because he fucking sucked on the Dolphins. And now he's like maybe average decent-ish in Buffalo and like other places. So that might be why I'm mad.
He's just a hard one, I think.
You think it's legit? Like
I think
he's like Russ corny, but I feel like Russ is.
Yeah, I think it's
like
it's something along the lines of like I'm just gonna give the people something to talk about. It's like, well,
yeah, but like, I mean, I get it. Yeah, I get it. I just think that might be kind of my reason I don't like it is like if he's doing it, I think he's doing it straight up for attention because he's not like a superstar. But then another thing that I feel like we could talk. Did you guys watch? I mean, I feel like you've probably seen the hit of Cooper DeJean tackling Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Oh my.
First of all, never would have thought that the Philly fans would post it all over their goddamn stories all the time and act like it was the biggest hit they've ever seen. He was catching a pass. He was looking behind him, turned his head around, and like barely had his feet planted in the ground at all. And he came up and just made a pretty routine tackle when somebody's off balance, and everybody's acting like he just stuck him.
Motherfuckers don't know about Robert Spillane meeting him in the fucking A gap. That's.
I saw on TikTok a top 5 hits on Derrick Henry of all time, and there's a couple where like him and another dude just fucking crack each other, and he's not the low man, and he gets kind of bopped. Cooper DeJean's hit was number 1.
Oh, give me a fucking break. Was the Robert Spillane one on there?
Was number 4.
Oh, fuck out of here.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, he met him in the fucking hole at the goal line.
Yeah.
And put him on his ass.
Dude, I don't make the rules or that video.
That's crazy.
It just makes you not think things are cool when you just see it all over. I mean, we're sensitive to it because we're in the Northeast, and I went to school with a billion people who are from Philly, and I live there. It's just like it oversaturates my social media feed with pretty normal things all the time, and it's incredibly frustrating, I'd say. Do you guys have any random football thoughts from the week?
Not football. This is, I don't know if I want to. The Sacramento A's just signed Luis Severino to a $67 million contract, which is more than the Pirates have ever signed any free agent.
I think with the bonus, it's like 74.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
That's also a crazy guy I hate when this happens, when it's an over-the-hill guy. He stinks. Yeah, it's an over-the-hill guy who has one resurgent year, and then a shit team is going to give him a lot of money. He's going to go back to sucking, and then the A's are going to be like, oh, this is what happens when we spend money. Sorry.
And we're not going to the Pirates aren't going to spend a fucking dime, and the A's are out there. Like, I don't want Severino anywhere near my franchise. And we also don't really, like, need pitching like that. But.
Yeah. Although if they still suck, maybe they'll trade the Phillies Brent Rooker, so there's always that.
Yeah. Or the Pirates Brent Rooker. I would also.
It is a Pirates name, Brent Rooker.
Yeah. Yeah, although it's probably not a great fit since our like left field is so deep. It's not like the best fit, and he can't play defense.
Terrible on defense.
Yeah, and I don't know what our DH situation is going to be, but
when I wrote my Phillies manifesto on Reddit, one of the trades, that's a sentence, isn't it? One of the trades I suggested was Brent Rooker. And
Yep.
I was doing some gymnastics, and I was like, oh, he's actually like not as bad as I thought he was in the field. He's like he has like the same DRS as Castellanos, I think. And then I went and looked, and Castellanos played all 162 this year. Brent Rooker played like 30 games in the
Yikes. I don't know how he's so bad. He's not like a fat guy.
No, he's just. I'm trying to think of a.
Like, why
definitely
is
another
he?
good example of this, where it's like, how is that guy, or like Yasmani Grandal? I know he's a catcher, but it's like he's just like a pretty average looking build guy, and he's the slowest person to ever exist. And I'm like, how are you this fucking slow if you're like coordinated and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yachty as well. Yachty getting down the line took days. Oh man. God damn it, dude. The Lions are gonna score and they're gonna, which is good, but I would love for Jahmyr Gibbs to get a fucking carry from the one for once. Because I need to fucking win this week.
You'll die waiting.
Lewis and I had a burner from a long time ago, and I just want you to know I absolutely ratioed a kid on it the other night.
Yeah.
Absolutely ratioed. I gotta go check.
Oh
I was
yeah.
doing straight numbies.
That's the best is when I get an Instagram notification that Eric sent something to himself on the burner. And then I'll just go look what it is, and then I can think of what I think he's gonna say.
Can you send me
this one coming.
Can you send me the tweet so I can also know what the account is and follow it?
It's on this one's on Instagram.
Oh,
There's
okay.
no followers. We don't follow a single person.
Okay, I won't
no
follow.
followers. But
Do a straight burner.
It was just about the Penn State Oregon like uniform matchup. Actually, this might be exposing me too much. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't say because nobody else is gonna make the difference that you made.
Yeah, I'll tell you off off camera, Corey.
Oh, okay.
But I will. Yeah, almost. I mean, it's a pretty fair amount of. It's a Heinz Award number of likes. So.
Hell yeah.
Um.
Speaking of Heinz Ward, I texted you guys this, but I just want to bring it up now. My friend at work that told me that the Steelers aren't good at drafting wide receivers because they get worse when they leave. It's just one of the worst things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
I think we read off the list. I guess I do also work with a bunch of guys that like didn't go to college as myself. So, but Jesus Christ, man, this is what I'm doing like all day long talking. This is what this is what I have to fucking deal with.
Yeah.
He actually got banned. They gave him like a 5-minute ban after that because it was just like
in the Discord.
Yeah, in the Discord. He gets banned. He gets like a 5-minute ban like twice a day.
That's actually a great thing to implement, I think.
It is.
All right. Well, that's gonna wrap it up, boys. You can follow us on what is it? Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube. Prime members can listen ad free on Amazon Music. I don't know what happened. I think we're like shadow banned on YouTube because the audio numbers have never been better, and the YouTube number that we're getting like no views on the YouTube. I don't know what happened, but we went from double-digit views an episode to completely zero.
Did we call Deshaun Watson a rapist too many times?
I guess so.
We got shadow banned because
he is a fucking rapist.
Google. I mean, yeah. Say it how it is.
Rapist. Vince McMahon gif.
Come on. All right. But yeah, follow on all those. Follow on x.com. You can see maybe Eric will start ratioing people on x.com as well. Also the Instagram and TikTok, all of them are at Picks and Parleys. Well, yeah, that's gonna do it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time.